10th, 2016. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you all here. We have anything to add to the agenda of the first meeting?
Yes,
Yes, and by the way, all the mics are on,
all the mics are on again, yes.
same as we did last meeting, so.
I have a request to add on for the community grants, the district community grant.
Yes.
That's not on the agenda.
For the next meeting.
For the next, oh, yeah.
The second meeting, right?
We're gonna have it's not gonna be discussed at this
Yeah,
meeting.
okay,
anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
We have some more also to add on.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
I'd like to add on the alternate for the United County Solid Waste Board.
Okay.
Put that on other business and decision, I don't know, it'd be up to you on this one.
9D.
Huh?
9D.
9D, yeah, 9D, okay?
Thank you.
We got more, we entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Does anyone around the table have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll go on to presentation. We have one presentation, the Wedgeport Tuna Tournament and Festival, branded Doucette, or Doucette.
Thank you for letting us come here today. The reason why we wanted to come, during the 2015 Wedgeport Tuna Tournament Festival, we conducted an economic impact study to evaluate the economic impact of the festival locally in Yarmouth County. So with the help of Gwen LeBlanc, with the Sedene, and Dr. Brian Van Blarkum, who is an economics professor at Acadia University, we were able to conduct this study and put the results together. So we do have a presentation. I'm just going to go through some key points since we don't have a lot of time. But I think everybody has a copy of the presentation. Yep. So if at any time, if you guys have questions, I should be able to answer them at the end. So the reason why we did the study, as I said, was to determine what the impact of our festival is. So first of all, we studied the incremental economic activity, which is what results is the money generated in the area that results directly from the tuna tournament and festival that would not be generated without the event. Second of all, we evaluated the economic significance, which is all the total money generated in the area, including that spent by locals, which we assume would already be spent in the area. So first of all, we're going to focus on the visitors from away, the non-locals in the area, specifically for the tuna tournament. So I'm going to skip to, again, this just explains that just the difference between the locals and the non-locals, that which we consider the non-locals to be incremental. So throughout the festival in August 2015, we surveyed approximately 100 people, sampled randomly throughout 3 days of the festival. The 3 biggest days, the weigh-ins and a couple others. So we found that 26% of the participants, of the visitors to our event, were non-locals in the area specifically for the event. 19% were non-locals in the area, but not due to the event, possibly visiting family, things like that. And 55% were local residents, and by local, we consider Yarmouth County. So as I mentioned earlier, the key element is the non-locals here, specifically for the event. These people spend money on accommodations, food and beverages, retail trade, etc. So from the 26% surveyed that were non-locals in the area specifically due to the event, the average party size was 2.7 people. The average party spent approximately $637, which gives us a total of $306,000 spent by non-locals in the area due to the event. On top of that, we had approximately 20 visitors that were involved in that went out fishing, were involved in the fishing, and we estimated that the spending at $18,000. So if you put those two figures together, the approximate spending from the 26% of non-locals in the area due to the event was about $324,000. On top of that, we add $41,000 for the tuna, the tuna sales, the tuna that was caught, and a little over $11,000 for wage subsidies. The tournament does create jobs, and we get wage subsidies from the provincial and federal governments. So all that together, approximately $376,000 was created direct spending specifically for the event. Now, the economics professor from Acadia that worked on this, he used input-output models and formulas that are used by the province of Nova Scotia to evaluate their events. So it's the same formulas they use. And with that, if I go quickly, it calculates for each industry. So I'm going to focus, the two biggest industries affected were retail trade, approximately $182,000, and accommodations, food, beverages, approximately $146,000. So all of this together, if you add up everything spent, the direct and indirect expenditures total approximately $524,000, with wages to workers and profits to companies totaling approximately $241,000. So this is only for the incremental impact. So without the event, this would not be generated, and it includes wages and everything. So if we go up a bit, this just explains what I mentioned. So we can also, like I mentioned, the global. So even not just what's generated by the event specifically for people from away, but also if we did survey the people, non-locals in the event, visiting family and things like that, 19% of the people surveyed, and their expenditures were approximately $133,000. Now if we go to locals, 55% of the people surveyed, their total expenditures were approximately $130,000. So if we add everything up, approximately $524,000 by non-locals. So this is money that was specifically brought to the area due to the event, $133,000 for visitors in the area for different reasons, and $130,000 for local residences. So that brings us to a total of approximately $788,000. That was the total money generated in the area due to the event. Out of that, it's approximately 70%, or $524,000, that would not have been brought to the area without the event. So the reason why we wanted to come here today was just to just to illustrate the importance of events such as ours and others in the area, and really to stress the fact that the grants really do help the communities. And it's something that sometimes it's hard to tell if there's a grant. It might appear small, but in the end, it does impact the community a lot. Were there any questions?
Yes, Councillor Surratt?
Maybe it's an unfair question, but does it generate any profit to the Tuna Festival? Do they make a profit at the end of the year out of all that's going on?
Yes, we do make a profit. A lot of the money goes to support the Tuna Museum. That was the original reason why the festival was revived. As much of you know, starting in the 1930s, it was quite big up until the 60s, and it was originally revived by Gwen LeBlanc and a few others to help the museum. And now that's still one of the goals, but another goal is to provide a service to the community. It does haul a lot of people, and it does generate money elsewhere.
Absolutely, thank you.
If I may, Brian.
Yes.
Or-
Yes, Councillor.
Typically, the Tuna tournament, if it's successful, weather-wise, permitting that the tournament can happen and product is brought in, it keeps the Tuna Museum afloat for the year pretty well. The Tuna Museum is self-sufficient due to the Tuna tournament. They're two different entities. They have a meeting once a year to transfer the funds from one entity to the other. But I just wanted to be noted that the Tuna Museum in Wedgeport is not regularly funded by any government. It is self-sufficient. So this tournament basically is, although it's two different entities, it is the Tuna Museum. It's what keeps it afloat. It's
Great info.
that and I mean the coffee in the morning, I guess, but namely
Yeah.
the Tuna tournament.
Yes, Councillor Murphy?
Yes, Brian, I'd like to comment you on your presentation here. It's Gwen, and all your volunteers, you guys are doing a special job. So I just like to comment on that and thank you very much for what you're doing for the municipality of Argyle.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions, or?
I have a question.
Yes,
Just,
Deputy.
you might not know the answer to this question, but I was just wondering about the upcoming tournament this summer. So, you know, the quota, the tuna quotas and all that, has that all been allocated, or do you guys know in advance how much, how much tuna you're supposed to have, or how does that work?
We're still working on it. This is going to be the 13th year. So for the past 12 years, we have been donated 3,200 pounds of quota by the Southwest Nova Tuna Association. There's 32 members in that association, or 32 licenses. They each donate 100 pounds. That, depending on the size of the fish, it's only enough for maybe 8 to 10 boats, because in recent years the fish have been getting bigger and bigger. So we do have to purchase a lot of times. Last year, we spent over $10,000 purchasing quota. But last year was available, and that's really one of our biggest obstacles in growing and securing ourselves for the next few years.
So you're if I may, you're limited to how much quota you can buy, right?
Yes.
There's only so much quota out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can pay 10,000 or 20,000. It'll probably pay. You get your money back, but you're limited, right?
If they catch
Exactly.
Ah.
if they catch the fish.
If they catch
So,
the
yeah.
fish, right.
That's on
Yeah.
the bluefin, is it not?
Yes, on the
The
bluefin.
yellowtail and the albacore and all that is a different category?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's only the bluefin that there's quota. The albacore, the yellowfin, the big
Yeah.
eye. Those are bycatches where there's no quota.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for a good presentation, and congratulations on your good job, on the job that you do, the whole, you and the whole committee.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
The next item on the agenda is adoption of minutes, and the first one is Emergency Management Organization, the Planning Committee, of February the 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next one is the 136th Annual Council Meeting of April the 12th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. West Pubnico Sewer Committee Meeting of April the 27th.
You missed one there.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Committee of the whole.
Well, we'll do that one anyway. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Yes, we'll go back to the Committee of the Whole Meeting of April the 26th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. And final one is the Tusket Sewer Committee meeting of May the 5th.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All
Second.
those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Business, next item is a business arising from the minutes, and I think it's the Hipson Bridge. Anything new on that?
No, Mr. Warden, that is, we expect to have the consultants come in. They have not come in as of yet. I think we expect them in late May, so there's nothing to
Oh,
report.
late May, okay, yes.
Date's May 17th.
May 17th? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good, thank you. Anything else? Does anybody have any business arising from the minutes? If not, we'll go, next item is a warden's report. Not very long. I don't know if you have any questions, or I have the booklet that I picked up at the Hot Sports Hall of Fame banquet Saturday night. We had half of the inductees were from Argyle municipality. Either live here or were raised here, or the Goodwins and Mackenzies, what's his name, George Purdy, and yeah, he was very good, a lot. And they were always asking, another thing they were asking for the other night is if anybody's interested volunteering on that committee, on the board, you'll be welcome, because some of the board members are getting up there in age, and so if anybody's interested, you'd be more than welcome. Councillors' reports. Does anybody have a report? Yes, Deputy.
I just wanted to report that in West Pubnico, the new tennis court and multi-purpose court, the last few days, every time I go by, I keep looking, and there's people playing tennis and kids playing ball hockey, and I guess I'm gonna have to go out and buy myself a racket myself. But it's being used, so it's nice to see that, this early in the season, some days it didn't look that warm, but people were dressed and they were playing tennis or playing whatever, so it was nice to see. I'm hoping that the same results are happening in Wedgeport and in Belleville, so.
Yeah, it's being used quite a bit.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
I was gonna go play tennis tonight, but I had a council meeting. So if I may have a report.
You need that for exercise this year?
Yes, I do.
I imagine you do, yeah. Go ahead, Councillor LeBlanc.
Not so much a report, more of a concern. It's a growing concern in the community of Wedgeport, obviously, probably in other communities, but obviously I'm hearing a lot of it in Wedgeport. The deterioration of houses. I know I've mentioned this before, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but it seems that the issues, whether they're getting worse or as soon as one is taken care of, there's two more that sprout up. But I'm getting recent calls every second day, maybe, sometimes on the same properties. But it seems to me that our unsightly, our dangerous and unsightly issues seem to be more problematic for me as the years have been passing here. I know we've talked about it a lot, and I know the solutions aren't simple. We've mulled over different solutions and cracking down more so on our bylaws and tightening things there. However, it seems to be a problematic issue. So I just like to mention that I will be bringing this up for discussion, and again, I know it's something we keep talking about, but I kind of wanted to put it out there so that you all have a chance to think about it in your communities and what you see and the issues, because I don't know if it's worse in my community than others. I'm sure that may just be a perception I have. I mean, every community is going to have issues like that. However, I feel quite strongly that something needs to be done. However, if the municipality takes a role, we all know, we've talked about it before, that we may be opening up a can of worms if we start cleaning up people's properties, which I've polled residents, you know, do you want tax dollars to help assist? And although some say yes, some say no, and it's a very complex issue when you get down. Often unsightly premise can often be associated with low income, so they don't have the means to clean up a property, or the physical ability to clean up a property, things like that. So it's a very complex issue that I'm seeing a lot of. So I just wanted to throw it out there that at the next council meeting, we should maybe, I'll be adding it to the agenda, that we should be, you know, looking at our options. Thanks.
Councillor LeBlanc, are those mostly vacant houses, or?
No.
Not all?
No, they're
No,
not.
okay.
It's a, like I said, it's a complex issue that
Yes,
there's different reasons.
Yeah.
Every issue, I guess, is its own
yeah,
special, unique.
okay,
So that some are vacant, some aren't.
Yeah.
It's a whirlwind.
yeah, I guess we all have some of those.
We do, I'm
Yeah.
sure we do, yeah.
Thank you. Any more reports? If not, we'll go on to the staff report. 13 pages, anybody care to read that?
Does that start on page 1?
Backwards, backwards.
Will you give us some highlights on that, please?
Sure.
CAO?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Warden. A slight update on aquaculture, that there's not much to report there at this time. Track and field, you all know there's 2 applications that have been submitted, one to ACOA, one to the province. We're still looking at other options. We're investigating Heritage Canada and other options such as that to help to increase our chances. The town of Yarmouth has confirmed their commitment to the project, as you have, Argyle, and we're still waiting on the municipality of Yarmouth. Okay, so admin building. Our subcommittee has not met yet. We did release a press release and did that on social media, Vanguard, etc., Courrier. We did some interviews, both Aldrich and myself did interviews to try to get the word out that the decision to move ahead with the plan and choice of location for a new building had been brought to council, or had been made by council. So that, so we haven't done anything in that area yet. We are going to meet, I believe it's next week. I don't remember the date exactly, but
This week,
is it this week?
Thursday,
Thursday morning?
I think, yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there we go. The weeks are flying by.
Yeah.
So affordable and alternative housing, not a lot to report. Wedgeport sewer, we're gonna turn a corner pretty fast on this. The consultants have been selected. Our primary objective right now is to inform the residents of Wedgeport what this project looks like, what they should expect from us. So correspondence will be coming from this organization in the next, I'd say, 7 days to go into the houses of Wedgeport We'll identify the map and the civic addresses that we will be focused on in the project, but we will be, we'll have, the mail out will go to every Wedgeport resident so that everybody can be informed on the project. And so, again, and I'll say this as much as possible, our intention is to do a pilot project to start, much like the Richemont County project was a pilot project. Voluntary request, voluntary application of the residents to solve their sewer issue that is in fact, if they have one. And so, you know, we've moved away from the centralized wastewater decision, and our only option that makes financial sense to the residents of Wedgeport is a decentralized or individual septic solution on their property. In some cases, that might be a cluster system where multiple homes can share in that investment. However, that's going to be a case-by-case basis, and our engineers have done this work a lot. And so they are physically going to visit these properties and identify, you know, which ones could be more problematic. So that's the update on Wedgeport Sewer. I imagine we're going to have some public meetings in the near future to discuss the project. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves before the community is understanding of the project. Again, the hope is that BCF would fund this project. We are applying for PCAP funds for the consulting portion of the project. That it has a fair chance of obtaining funding, and of course gas tax is the last resort for that project. The project is moving into the Green Energy Committee. The project is underway. Ground has been broken. I haven't seen any recent updates on that, but that project has begun. The new board for the Airport Corporation will be selected on the 24th of May. That's the upcoming meeting date, and so there'll be a transition meeting where the old board members, the municipal councillors, will be asked to attend. Essentially, I would say that's there are a lot more, obviously, activities happening here. Just wanted to highlight those. If there are any questions about any part of the staff report, there's things falling from the sky.
Snowing.
It's
Snow.
very interesting. If there are any questions on the staff report, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have my soldier in my truck.
Okay. Any questions for Alain or for Chris? If not, it's a good report. Thank you for that. Then we can go on to other business and for decision, SPCA contract. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, this is,
CIO?
this contract is for I guess, a motion of council to approve. I would recommend its approval. It's at the same rate as it was in the past, and the major difference in this agreement compared to the last one is that this is a longer agreement, so we don't have to visit it as quickly as we did in the last contract. And the other is a section that the SPC added that they would commit to their responsibility, as it's not, we don't have a CAT bylaw, so they have made a commitment to invest more money in trap neuter release and other solutions for feral cat problem. The SPCA is recognizing their part in that, and I think you may have seen the SPCA Yarmouth, all the SPC branches are now merging into SPCA Nova Scotia, so they're now going to be, so it's going to be one organization. We're seeing a lot of that anyway. We've seen a lot of the animal control officers. They have multiple animal control officers, not just one in Yarmouth. that are authorized to assist in animal control issues for our region. So, one of the advantages of working together is that we have access to additional animal control officers in case we needed it locally. So this is an agreement between the municipality of Argyle and the Nova Scotia SPCA. The town and municipality of Yarmouth will be signing separate contracts, but it's a similar arrangement.
So I'll make that a motion that we accept this contract through to March 31st, 2019. And it will be providing the dog by law enforcement, shelter, and kindling services for the municipality of Argyle.
Seconded by Councillor Surratt. So this is signed with SPCA Nova Scotia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Just-
Yes,
Just a
Councillor
question.
Muse.
Just a question, okay, so we pay this to the province, so because, does our portion go directly to the Yarmouth? What we pay would stay in our district, or not our district, but our area?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the short answer to that is yes.
Okay.
The Yarmouth shelter is running a deficit. So what was happening was the Nova Scotia SPCA was subsidizing the Yarmouth branch. So I guess my understanding is that will continue, which suggests very strongly that our money is actually being used.
Yeah,
Yes, used locally for sure.
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. And I should note that that there's a merger of all of the SPCA associations. However, any local fundraising that's done for the Yarmouth SPCA stays
Stays in
with
Yarmouth.
that branch.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You all heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Grants to organizations policy amendments. Who speaks to this? Is it you or?
We can, I
Do you
think,
want it?
I think Mr. Frotton is probably in a better position to speak about this, and I can support where needed.
At the last meeting, put my mic on.
Yes,
Is it on? Thank you.
no, it is now.
At the last
Sorry.
meeting, there was a few suggestions or comments that were raised by you, council, regarding our district community grants specifically. So what we did is we took those comments and those suggestions and put it in one document for you to have a look at. And if you are interested in making an amendment to the policy, you can also so choose to do that. So the first thing that reading this over a few times, we realized it might not be extremely clear. And by clear, I mean I didn't get any of it. So I wanted to make sure I explained it correctly. So the first suggestion that was brought forward was the eligibility criteria. So at the present time, only organizations within each of your districts are allowed to apply or request to you for a grant. So one option would be to modify that eligibility criteria to include organizations that would have a significant benefit to the residents of your district, instead of being located within your district boundaries. The other option to modify the eligibility criteria would be to allow balance transfers. So if throughout the year a councillor just isn't getting his complete request to give his allotted amount, he would be allowed to transfer some of his district grants to another councillor in another district. That's an option. So if you were to choose one of those two options to change the eligibility criteria, you could also put a limit on how many requests an organization could make. So right now, an organization can only make one request per year because they only have one councillor they can go to. If you change the eligibility criteria, you open up the door to an organization being able to ask to more than one councillor for a district community grant. So you could, if you chose to amend the criteria, to put a maximum amount of requests, so 2, 3, whatever you would choose. And finally, there was some discussion around the maximum amount you could give as well of the $500. So we did include that in the document. And then we just provided a brief conclusion around just highlighting the evolving needs of the organizations and sometimes the volunteer bases or the communities of interest that change throughout the years, and that was one of the reasons why we brought this forward. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or open up the discussion.
Yes, Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Broughton. I made that motion at the last meeting to up our grants to organizations to 3,000 from 2,000. I understand that, I mean, there was another counselor or whatever who say, well, he had a hard time getting, and I would agree with that, because if I didn't have, like, say, 6 that I do have today, but if I had 3 or 4, and another counselor wanted in his district or her district or what have you, I think it would be fair to allocate it to another one of our colleagues here, you know, to help them out if I didn't have that many to go. Like, so I don't know what council, you know, would do with this, but I would see fit to let it go. If another counselor wanted to help another counselor out, then so be it, I guess.
Thank you. Councillor Muse?
The part about organizations asking for more than one, I don't think I agree. Even if we went with the I guess I'm looking for a word here, but this model here where we would be able to give to organizations that would benefit, because I've had some requests from organizations like our fire department is not in my district, but it serves my district. And I have another fire department that serves another part of my district that's not in my, you know, that part. But I don't, even if we were to adopt this and make the changes, I don't think that any organization, you can still monitor. If they've asked one counselor and then they ask me again, we know that they've had one, and I think we can control that they don't get 2. And I don't think that any organization should get 2. Or, you know, that's just, but I do agree that we should be able to help if it benefits, and one counselor runs out of money, because that has happened, and they came to me, and I couldn't give to that organization, even though there was a lot of my district, the residents from my district were taking part in that organization. So I agree with that, but I don't think that we should allow any organization to get more than 1.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Albright?
I agree with that. I like the addition of being able to share that. So if somebody runs out of their district grants, another councillor can transfer whatever if they have left over. Because in my district, I have 3 major villages, right? So I have 2 fire departments, I have 2 clubs, I have 2 seniors groups, I have a school, and I always run out before even budget is up. So it would benefit definitely, and I've been one of the people who've gone to Councillor Muse and said, the fire department is in my district, but serves as many people in your district, but we couldn't share because I had run out of money. So at one point, I couldn't give a district community grant to the fire department because I had no money left. So if we were to amend it so that we could do that, I know that my district would probably benefit from that for sure. But I also agree that I think that once you make a request for an organization, that's it. I don't agree that you should be able to make 2 or 3 different requests.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that too. I don't think though that we can start, I'm not sure if we can start trading requests from one end of the municipality to the other. I
Right.
agree that, like Calvin and I, we both serve West Pubnico. I mean, it's the same people all over, yeah. Councillor Surratt?
Agree with what Councillor Muse and Councillor Albright said, and also with Councillor Murphy. I'd like to add in that I think it'd be, for some of the districts, especially one of the districts, that sometimes can't disperse all, I would agree that we should maybe bump it up to 750. Or a number that maybe one of the, Councillor Dartmouth could maybe bring up a suggestion that may be a number. But I would think that, you know, we should be able to bump it up too if we're looking for, to add instead of the 500, go to 750. I would support to bump it up. 750 is what I would be.
Yes, Deputy Warden.
Well,
Thank you.
If we have the ability to help or use our community grants, district community grants in your adjacent district, then the $500, $750, that's not an issue, right? The only issue I see is then we might have to change the name because it won't be district community grants anymore. It would be districts, maybe community grants, or, you know, adjacent district grants, or
Just community.
just community grants, yeah.
We'll find a nice name.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But that would definitely work for me because, you know, most of the organizations that the people in my district belong to are in West Pubnico, the whole, you know, village from Lower West, Middle West, West, and, you know, it just happens that most of them are in Aldrich's district, just, you know, that's just how it is, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'd like to make
Yeah,
a motion, if I could, that we, oh my God, I'm lost here. All of a sudden, that we move ahead and possibly have a joint communities, councils could give a part of their grants to different communities, in different districts, different communities, even if it's not their part of their district. And one grant per organization would be that motion.
Second that.
Have I confused you enough,
Well-
Mr. Franklin?
Could you, yes, sir.
No, what I understood the Councillor Surratt's motion to be is that there is only one application per organization, and that municipal councillors can assist regardless of where the request is located. So on the question, just for clarity, there's two ways that we can do that. Like one way would be that the letter would, so if it's, let's say for example, you have room, Councillor, and so my question would be, where would that request go? So who would actually make the decision to support that organization? There's two ways to do that. You can either transfer your balance, and then the person who receives that money makes the decision, or you can make the decision as the councillor in that particular district because that's the room you have. So it really is just, the question I would ask on the motion is, who do you think should make that decision? Because the way that it's written in terms of the policy amendment, what we're saying is that there's some interpretation around, well, it benefits my district, or it benefits my community, therefore I would approve it. So it suggests that the decision would move away from the person who had the money, and it would go to that other councillor who would receive the balance. So I just because we're gonna be doing this, we're gonna be making this change by policy, we want to have to do it twice. We want to make sure that we're accurately reflecting your motion. Am I being clear?
No, to me, it should be the councillor that's in that district, but that's, you know, I'm opening it up to all councillors. If it's in that district, maybe you can correct.
Yes.
Okay, well, if we've all been allocated the same amount, I think that the councillor, regardless if it's in his district or the adjacent district, should be the one because, you know, we've all been
Exactly.
allocated the same amount.
Right,
Yeah.
And I think we should have the control of, you know,
okay.
same as in the past where we, you know,
Yeah.
in our own districts, we decide, so.
So it's not transferring, so to be clear,
No,
you're
it's
not
not.
transferring your
No.
balance
Not as
over
far as
to
I'm
another
concerned.
council.
Right.
No,
So-
I agree with that.
That was
Right.
my question.
Yeah.
You
I-
are, it is in your decision-making
That's right.
ability
Very
to
good.
do that.
But if I could, I
Yes.
think that if Councillor D'Entremont, I asked for a $500, for my community, I think that if he gives it out to me for my community, should be known that it comes from him.
Correct. What Councillor D'Entremont is suggesting
Yeah,
is that the organization, if you run out of room,
yes.
the organization that's looking for funding support
Yes.
in your community
Yes.
would have to write the letter to Councillor
To
D'Entremont.
Councillor,
That's right.
yes,
I
and
got you.
yes,
And-
and that's, you
and-
know.
and
'cause
he would
it-
make that decision.
It comes from him, because
Correct.
he's allocated that money.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
correct. That's correct.
And would there be a time frame? Like, would we wait until
Well,
budget time is done? Do you know what I mean? But,
It's up to you.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to give it early and then run out yourself?
Yeah,
or-
okay.
You know, I would say anyway.
Absolutely.
It's,
Great point.
it's gonna be late in the year.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
I
gonna
mean, it's
be-
up to you. If
Yeah.
you think you wanna let somebody use it and then you run out, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Councilor Donaldson?
I believe the last time we went through this, during election year, didn't we make an agreement, not under the policy, where we had to distribute the money very early?
Correct.
So it didn't become like an election handout, a goodie?
Yeah.
I don't know the best way to
Well,
describe it, I
you're
don't know
only
what I'm
gonna-
thinking, but I'm not gonna say that.
You're not
but-
gonna distribute it when you get the
The
ask,
request.
eh?
What-
The request.
What we said was, I remember quite
Go.
specifically what Councillor Donaldson is referring to, and we were talking about that, and the later we get into the summer, you start getting into election, you know, and just like federal government, right, as soon as the writ is dropped,
Yeah.
there's no funding that leaves the organization, and that's Councillor Donaldson's point, is that you can do it before, you can wait till after, but when we get into that election period, there really shouldn't be any disbursement of funds through that
So we
program.
should set a date then.
And we could, I mean,
Set
the
a time.
dates,
Yeah, we
the
did-
dates are
we
set
didn't-
for the election, so.
Yeah, but we didn't set a date last time, I think.
I
we-
think so.
I think we didn't we agree to do it by the end of July or something, or I can't remember, but we.
Check that again.
Anyhow, I think it should be dealt with because we have, I don't
we-
know what a good date would be.
We're
Prior
modifying,
to the writ.
Mr. Warden, we
Yes,
are
sir.
modifying the policy, we can certainly add a date while we're modifying the policy. And I think that, we would look to pick a date that reflects approximately what the election calendar would be this year.
I'd suggest July 31st until after the election.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking, but
that's certainly
it's
a good
reasonable,
suggestion.
because nobody's gonna start campaigning much before that, I wouldn't think.
All right. You wanna add that in the motion? or-
I'll add that to the
or that-
motion, it's a great suggestion.
or-
Just to give you an idea, I've taken note of all of your suggestions, which I will in turn add to the policy and amend it. Then I will bring the policy after proper notice to you, back to council for you to
Yes.
review all of the suggestions. So to clarify or make it more simple, the motion would simply read that you move to proceed with the proposed changes to the eligibility criteria of the grants to organizations policy. So right now, all you're doing is agreeing to proceed with these suggestions. I will bring forward the
Oh,
policy
okay.
amendment later.
Then we can approve the
Then you can
policy.
approve the actual policy after 7 days' notice.
Good.
Okay.
With a motion made and seconded, does that still have to be voted on though?
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
time?
yeah,
You can still vote
can
on the
still vote
motion
on that,
of
although-
proceeding to amend the policy. Yeah. I just won't list all of the suggestions in the policy. In the, so if
in the
you-
motion.
Motion.
We're gonna list everything in the
Yeah.
motion, yes, yeah.
Question.
Does that work?
Oh, it certainly does, because ultimately, the motion that's important is the motion to accept the policy changes. So what staff has heard is, you don't want 2 applications.
Right.
You don't want to increase the amount. What you want is the ability for the district, for the counselor in that district to use his or her amount for another organization outside of their district. And we're going to add the date of July 31st
Very good.
in the policy to ensure. And that's what we've heard today.
And
So
that's
that doesn't
what-
have to be
and that-
explicitly
And that
stated
the
in that
request
motion.
would come to the,
Correct. And that would all be written out in the policy,
Right.
and you'll be able to approve it
So
then,
July 31st, that would be for when there's an election
in an
year.
election year.
In an election year.
Councillor Muse?
No, I'm fine.
All set? The question's been called for. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Growing Community Scholarship Recommendation.
Get there.
Next item.
This may want to be handled by Councillor Surratt, as Councillor Surratt is very involved with
Okay.
with the scholarship. I have my recommendation, which is of course consistent with the subcommittee that receives the applications.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
If I may,
Councillor Surratt.
Yes, the scholarship grant, which is for a student from either Paraba or Drummond Heights. It's $1,000 per scholarship for anybody going to community college in the province. Doesn't need to be in Yarmouth, but in the province. But the person has to come from the municipality of Argyle. So we've only had 2 applications this year, and both of them were from Drummond Heights. We didn't get any from Paraba. And although the information was sent in, and we didn't get any, so the committee is suggesting that we give the two scholarships of $1,000 each to the 2 people who applied from Drummond Heights. So I guess that's the motion that we accept. Recommendation to the committee.
And I'll second,
You're making a
I
motion.
make a motion.
and I'll second the motion.
Pardon?
I'll second the
Second
motion.
by Sir Muse. You heard the motion. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next item is 9D. Somebody added this to the agenda. Was it Councillor Surratt?
mhm.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what?
9D?
90, oh yeah, it's me, yeah. Sorry, Councilor Murphy was bothering me, so I did.
Give him a candy.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, I should be listening a little more. Councillor Donaldson, at our last meeting of the Yarmouth County Solid Waste Park Authority,
Yes.
was asked if I'd bring this up, that he will be working this from probably now, from now
Starting
on till
tomorrow.
probably the end of September, October, in driving trucks and that, between the lobsters and the herring, anyhow, and we were having a hard time to reach a quorum, sometimes at the solid waste park meetings. It's been quite a bit in the last year. So he suggested, and I thought it was all okay, that if we could get an alternate from this council, if he couldn't make it, I'm certainly sure that Councilor Johnson will let the alternate know that he can't go, and then that person would know.
But it's generally a, 9:30 meeting in the morning?
9 in the morning, yes.
9:30.
Yes,
And
important.
it's a very small committee, so it's her job to get a quorum. There's only 6, so you need 4 to show up.
So your committee now consists of 2 from each council in
Yeah.
Yarmouth
Thank you,
County,
2 from
right?
each council, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I know it's at 9 o'clock and he eliminates some people. Obviously, it does eliminate some people when you're working, but
And the meetings are held where?
they're held at Town Hall at 9 o'clock, and it's every 2 months. We have meetings every 2 months. We just had our last one on May 6th, I think, 5th, 6th.
So
So
the
it would
alternate
be
would-
June before the next meeting.
or every 2 months, it'd be July.
July.
Thank you.
So
July.
it's only would be a maximum of maybe 2 meetings.
2
Maybe
meetings
2
at the
meetings.
most. Well, yeah.
So anybody that doesn't work during the daytime,
I can volunteer for that if,
and they're usually relatively short.
Yeah.
and one of the more interesting committees to be on.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Okay,
I'll make
We-
a motion that we appoint Councillor Buse to be the alternate on the
Waste Park.
Waste Park Committee.
I'll second it.
And if I may, and as alternate, I'm alternate for either one. If you can't make it.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
It's
absolutely.
not just alternate to
Oh.
No.
Councillor Donaldson.
Either or, yeah.
Either or.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Alternate
guaranteed.
for either one.
and you'll be a voting member, right?
And
When
that,
you-
I would be a voting member as
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
attend.
Okay, any more questions, or? If not, all those in favor, signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr.
Motion
Chair,
carried, yes.
I will make sure that he is put on the mailing list, then you'll know.
That's it, so I
Email
know
list.
when the meetings are
Okay.
coming.
Make sure they'll,
Are you the chair?
yes, I am.
Yes. Thank you. Perfect, good. Now we'll go on to correspondence, and for information, the first item is the Wren CEO report of March the 26th. The 2016 DPC annual report. 2015-16 April building permits comparisons. And the Development Building and Subdivision Annual Report. We've all had a chance to read these, and the public also. We've been on Yarmouth County Solid Waste Park Board minutes of February the 3rd, April the 6th, and the manager's report. Any questions or comments on any of those, or?
I
Yes,
just
Councillor
have-
Muse?
I just have one comment. Is it still called Yarmouth, Argyle, Barrington?
Yes.
Okay, that hasn't been changed because it just.
They just didn't bother to change the name.
Okay, yeah.
It's essentially, it would have required a change in the constitution.
In order
and
to
it
change
didn't. Maybe we were hoping that Barrington would come back, and then we wouldn't have to make two changes.
It's just the name.
It is
It's
just,
the
yeah.
name, but they're not in there.
Yeah, okay. Just wondering.
Yep, yep. Okay. Then after that is a financial request. We're not dealing with any of them at this meeting. Notice of motion. Does anybody have a notice of motion?
Did Councillor O'Donnell indicate not the notice of motion for discussion?
There's no real motion.
No.
There's no real motion to make, I guess,
No.
more so a discussion, open discussion.
Okay. Question period? Any questions from the public, from the press?
Motion to adjourn.
They have a
Second.
seconder? Thank you. We're adjourned.
17.